the custody suite are receiving one of their youngest and shortest guests.
You been in custody before?
No.
No. Right, what's going to happen, I'm going to word with this officer, find out why you're here. I've got to ask you lots of questions. All right, just answer them best you can, OK? Do you know what a lawyer is?
No.
Right, a solicitor and a lawyer is basically someone that will come here to the police station and help you with the legal side of things, you know, all the law and stuff like that. Do you know how tall you are?
No.
No, you stand them up against the ruler when you get a second.
Why don't you stand across this?
4'7"?
The boy is 11 years old, but arrested for theft, he's treated like any grown-up.
Young man, I'm going to authorise your detention here. Understand that? All right. As my colleague said, if there's anything you're unsure about, just ask him. We'll try and explain it in better terms. All right.
How long will you be here for?
Until it all gets sorted, I'm afraid.
Welcome to the lockup. This is Hull, home to 250,000 people and Humberside Police. At police headquarters, the custody suite looks after 6,000 people every year. And amongst them are 600 children.
And you do it at birth?
12, right now.
How old does that make you then?
12.
The man in charge, Sergeant Rich West, knows the lockup is frightening, whatever your age.
My 8-year-old's bigger than that lad that we've got in J1. Just think if she was in here. It's scary.
Brief circumstances, please.
This young man has been seen to be on the lower roof of the old New York building, removing items of metal and lead, and he's been arrested.
All right, can you give me a signature? Do you know what your signature is?
No.
Basically, if you can write your name, just to say that you've answered my questions, OK?
Just write my name.
Just write your name in that box. What's going to happen now? Go and sit in a cell. The officer will show you where the button is if you need any help. OK? And I'll sort out what's happening going on.
Pick your boots up. Hold it.
11 years old. First time in.
He looks very worried, that one, doesn't he?
I think he was getting a little bit teary there when we was cutting the cords out of his pants when he was getting.
OK, let's bring the next one in.
The boy was caught with an older mate who knows the routine.
All right, come stand here. You've been in custody before?
Tommy was in for a week.
Together they were found on a roof, suspected of stealing lead, and that's not all they were up to.
Just to go in the bin. Too young to have them, aren't you? That rubbish in your lungs.
And your date of birth?
He's 14 years old.
Do you know how tall you are? We better check to see if you weren't grown.
Go up to that ruler, put your back to it.
Was 4'8", what are we now? 5'1", shot up.
I'm not growing anymore if you keep using those cigarettes.
Cannabis. You just think of when when you were a child yourself, and I was still riding bikes by then, when I was 14. So to arrest somebody who's 10, 11, 12, you just think what does the future hold for them when they're starting out that young.
Do you know what sister is? Yeah? Do you want one this time or do you not? You're all right.
In the lockup, there's a juvenile wing where the boys will be kept in separate cells.
Just grab your jacket and your shoes.
Your blanket.
It shocks me in a way, the fact that they're that small. It makes you have the awe factor thinking, oh, when they're that young, and you see them walking down the custody block. But we don't get many in, so we don't see a lot of kids that age, thankfully.
Thankfully indeed, because this is definitely no place for kids.
Offences?
Section 5, public order. For what? Hostile routine patrol. Came across this gentleman with his penis out, urinating in full view of oncoming traffic and members of the public.
Not living up to his name is Ricky Love.
Got out to speak to him, and before we could do checks, etc., the male's behaviour became very aggressive.
And you was going to bat me. You was going to bat me.
Made various threats to bite our nose off, etc., etc.
All right. You're a fucking dog, aren't you?
I approached him, straight away began being verbally abusive and aggressive. We put the cuffs on him, he then became even more aggressive, started struggling with us. He was trying to spit at my colleague in the back of the car. Then it developed from there to where he was threatening to bite our noses off.
Yeah.
I'm going to advise you right now, right that moment, none of that hit me. You better make sure that nothing like that ever happens again.
Because I'm not
All right?
like you. I'm not like you.
Turn around.
You've been caught.
Spitting is an officer's nightmare because of the risk of infection.
But I'll hand you a pie.
Look at me.
at
Look
this.
that
Look at
way.
this.
Don't look like
Look
you're
at
going to
this.
spit at me.
Look at this. Look
Calm
at
yourself down.
What are you doing?
Calm yourself down.
You're only taking my trousers. All right, look at you. Look at you.
Chill out
I'm
now.
not struggling. You're taking my trousers off. There you go, look. There you go. I haven't struggled. What are you doing? Ah, my fucking arms.
Calm yourself down then.
I'm not, I'm calm.
I'm going to relax. Don't make any silly spitting faces
more
or
cards.
noises. All right.
Get off me.
And there you are.
Chill yourself out. Put your arms up there. Put your arms up there.
Ricky. Is it Ricky or Richard?
Right, put your hands on there. Keep them on there.
There you go.
Any middle
Keep 'em
names,
on there.
Ricky? Ricky, you're 27, yeah?
Yeah,
Do you class yourself as white and British? Yeah. Do you know how tall you are?
All right.
N6.
Two more kids have been arrested, this time on their way to school.
Two juvie females coming for shop theft from St Stephen's.
And one of them has kicked off.
Let's have a look. One's attacking security.
Matt, waterman up, please.
Yeah, they've spoken to them, the officers, and they've kind on. The two sisters.
It's the younger sister's first time in custody.
And the brief circumstances, please.
Police were called to by security staff reporting that two females had been attacking them after being detained for shop theft. When we attended, the two females initially refused to give us details, so in order to identify them, we've had to arrest them.
So the issues of the shop theft.
She's been seen to conceal a bandage. Can we take your hair grips out and I need your hair bobble out as well?
Oh, no, my head next.
Oh no, but I need it. So you're just gonna have to go for the wild look.
I know how you feel, to be honest. I struggle with my fringe.
Yeah, no, because I haven't got a lot.
Fall out, you know. Right, I'm going to do a risk assessment, so don't be offended by any of these questions. Ask everybody the same questions when they come in, all right? Have you had any alcohol, drugs, or anything like that in the last 24 hours? Solvents? You're not going in trouble?
Not drugs.
No, have you had any alcohol?
Maybe a bit of wine or whatever it was last night.
Wine, whatever.
How old are you?
15.
Wayne, can you just take the lady down to J1, please, mate? J1. Yeah, please.
Right, see you later. It is a really low value shop theft, but we couldn't ascertain their names or who they were. Once we got them separated, she's been a pleasure. It's just, I think, a bit of bravado in front of her sister who was like a wild animal. We ended up having to struggle with her a little bit to get her in handcuffs. So yeah.
The oldest sister is 16.
You all right? Obviously been crying. Yeah? You all right? And the offence, please?
She's assaulted the security guard by scratching his hands and kicking him several times in his shins.
Right, do you want to just start taking all your jewellery and everything off for me?
That's it, we're tomorrow as well.
Eh?
That's it, we're tomorrow as well.
Yeah, everything.
In the back of the van, she didn't have this blood. She's indicated that she's been chewing inside her lips and all the rest of it. So he's going to have to come out.
No, I did that, that's what I did a little bit.
He's going to have to come out.
He's going to have to
Right.
come out.
She's calm now. She wasn't initially when we informed her that she was under arrest. She just exploded. But luckily, I've got a muscly colleague who came to my assistance.
And the cause of all this trouble?
What are the marks on your arm?
Burns.
Burns. What did you have?
Salt and ice.
Salt and ice.
Salt and ice is the latest schoolyard dare. The girls were nicking the bandage to treat this self-inflicted frostbite.
You put salt around the ice on it. It burns you.
Why would you do that?
Don't know.
Just to see if it did.
Difficult for us because we need to get past the custody side. When you're bringing in a child, 15, 16 years old, who are completely compliant, they'll be wondering why on earth we brought them to the custody suite when we could deal with them by means of triage, reprimand, caution, whatever. But we have to stress, at scene, we're absolutely wild, weren't we?
Yeah, it was like Jekyll and Hyde, we had her up against the wall, didn't we, struggling to restrain her. She was just like a wild animal.
Are you at work this morning?
Time to call the girl's dad.
Yeah, been arrested for suspicion of shop theft in town centre. Would you be available, sort of as and when we need you to come down? Oh, you're heading. You're quite welcome to do that. I don't know how long you might have to wait at the front desk, but you certainly can come down and you can have a chat with him at any point if you want to. Right, cheers now. Thanks.
Right
Bye.
Then. Inhale. Yeah. Right then, just need to take your shoes off. Hold me notes. That's your mattress. I know you're not, but you can. It's better to sit on there than this hard thing, isn't it? All right, if you need us, press this buzzer for anything like toilet or whatever you need to speak to me. Just press that buzzer and we'll come down to you. All right? Sure. Well, the officers are going to go and get statements from the security staff, and then as soon as your dad gets here, we'll get to interview you. All right? When it's juveniles, there's two schools of thought. One, you can be real nasty to them to make sure they don't want to come back, or you can be nice to them. I think, having two girls myself, I think I take the nice approach to them to make sure that, one, they're not going to do anything silly to themselves. The fact that they're going to sell, that's a bit of a shell shock for them anyway. So they'll calm down. They'll be here for a few hours. They'll think about what they've done, and then they'll get dealt with.
If the charge states 15, no one goes and I've just told Trappers, please.
Who's buzzing? What number?
The 11-year-old boy wants some attention.
You all right? You sure? Is this your first time in custody? What do you think of it? Boring, isn't it? No tellies or PlayStations in here, isn't he? Once your dad gets here, what's he going to say? Kick your butt. Do you want a drink or anything? A cup of tea? You want sugar in it? Two. You understand what's happening to you? Get the water in case you want it later on. Don't you fall off that bench, you're not the biggest of lads, are you? Sometimes they come in and they're really like, yes, I'm in again, and they try and think the big I am, and it's a bit of a bardo for them, really, tell their mates that they're in custody. But these two, they do look a bit scared, but you want them to have a bit of a fear factor to try and put them off coming again.
And I've just told Trappers, guilty plea.
Now the older boy wants some attention too.
What did you say? Is that what you've rung the buzzer for me to take your code?
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to switch it off if you keep buzzing for no reason. It could just stay there until you do meals, alright? Do you know what you rung the buzzer for, Sarge? I've finished.
Oh, bless. Probably lonely and wants to talk to people. My 8-year-old's bigger than that lad that we've got in J1. Scary. Just think if she was in here.
How old are you, Rich? You must be cracking on a bit.
29.
What, again? You've been stuck on 29 for about the last 15 years, have you?
It's going to be a long night if you say I'm over 40.
Or is it the snow on the roof that makes you look older?
Oh, the Queens have now got 6s, so...
Next, please.
Right. Afternoon. Evening. You've been in custody before?
Years and years ago, I reckon.
Right. Well, what I'm going to do...
John Farrow has just ploughed into a parked car, but why he lost control is a mystery.
And the circumstances, please.
We had a report that a male had been seen driving in erratically and crashing into another vehicle.
You know more than me.
Witness spoke to him. He appeared to be under the influence of some sort of substance.
Excuse me.
How are you feeling at the moment?
Different.
Different. Have you consumed any alcohol or drugs in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, I don't think I've had any drugs.
You've had no drugs? Right. How much alcohol you had, roughly?
That's what I'm on about. Out last night. I'll have had about less than a bottle of wine last night.
Last night?
Yeah.
Right, what about today? Have you had anything today?
No, nothing today.
Right, and you've had no drugs in the last 24 hours?
No.
Well, something's making you slur a bit.
I've had a wacky-backy.
You've had a wacky-backy. When did you have your smoke blend? When was it?
Well, you're up this morning.
Right. Do you use drugs every day? Do you use wacky-backy every day?
No. If I had the chance, I would, but I don't.
Right then, I'm going to authorise your detention at the police station so we can secure and preserve evidence into the offence that you've been arrested for. All right?
Have they done anything wrong yet, then?
Can't say at the moment.
Do you want a solicitor?
What for? I don't think it'll make no difference, will it?
Well, it's up to you. Yes or no?
I'll think about it now.
Okay. Right, you want to come over here, then? When you came in, he was looking at me, but everything I was saying wasn't going in. It was as though he'd had a taken drugs or drink.
On manner of experience, what would your thought be?
What's that?
On this?
What you're going to blow?
Yeah.
I've no idea. Right. Deep breath. Blow. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. That's it. Done. Now what we do is we wait for the results. Okay. 0.
So it's nothing in my system at all?
Yeah, whatever. If you've had some alcohol, it's out your system. Yeah, just...
Mr. Farrow now thinks he can go home.
All these coming off.
I'm all free.
He blew 0, so I think that's when he decided that that was his pass to leave.
John, just come here, John. John, just come here. The results are 0. Do you want
I
to
don't
copy?
want nothing, truthfully. I ain't done nothing wrong. You've just forced me into this, and I'm having enough.
When he was told that he would still be residing with us, he decided that he was going to take exception to that and get a little bit stroppy.
Right, what I'm saying is, do you want a copy of the...
I run from police on all occasions, and I will do it.
This is down to our next step. We'll come down and
He's had something, so we can't just let him go, because if he gets back in a car, he could wipe somebody out and kill somebody this time, so then we've got, it's on our conscience, and we could have prevented that.
I've never been in a farm. I don't like it. I think it's scary. It makes me more angry. Just being blocked in a room on your own. That's what scares me.
The girl's dad has arrived in reception and he's not happy.
I mean, the way they're treating them kids, to me, is the serious criminals, are they not? They've done one mistake. It's the first time they've ever been done up like this.
I'm just going to go and speak to the dad of the sisters that have come in. There's some question about his suitability for appropriate adult.
When kids are in custody, they need an appropriate adult to represent them. Normally, that's a parent, but not always.
I'm Sergeant West, I'm the custody sergeant at the moment. I understand that there's some issue regards fingerprints and photographs, you know? Right. I appreciate you've been in custody yourself before, is that right? Right. So you know that there's, by law, we can take the fingerprints by force if need be?
Well, you're not getting them done.
Right, why is that then?
Because I won't allow it.
Why? Just
the man is, I won't allow it.
But there's nothing in law that stops us from doing that.
There's nothing from walking out of here, then, is he?
You walk out by all means for me. What I can do then deem is that you're not appropriate to be an appropriate adult.
You're not keeping them in.
And then I can just get your offending team to do that on my behalf.
You're not keeping them in.
Okay, so are you happy for me to go and do the fingerprints and the DNA then?
Whatever.
Okay, so I'll go do that and I'll keep you updated once that's been done.
The Youth Justice Service looks after kids in custody when an appropriate adult can't be found.
Obviously, his concern is his children are in custody, which is understandable. Any parent whose children are in custody are normally quite apprehensive. But what we do try to ensure is that parents understand why the children are in custody in the process in regards to what's going to happen.
Are you going to cooperate during the interview as an appropriate? Well, I appreciate that, and I want these girls out of here because it's not a place for them, and I want them to be released as soon as we can. But I can't do that if I'm having little problems being chucked in the way, am I? If I think you're going to be obstructive, then I will just won't let you into custody suite.
Well, don't let me in, that's what you want to do.
Okay. Right, if that's that case, then I'm not going to let you act as appropriate adult. All right? And I'm going to let you offend your team to do that. You could tell straight away that he was being obstructive. It's an inconvenience for him, and for me, he's not going to have the kids' best interests at heart, so at least if Michelle from the offender goes in with them, she can be independent, she can act, she's used to it, she can act on their best interests.
Why don't you just come up?
Please.
The children are manners, so why should you have them photographed and fingerprinted? To me, they've never done all that in their life. To me, they treat them like criminals. They'll be crapping it in there.
So if you put your hand out, Now, your fingerprints, your photos and your DNA will be used to speculate search against any crimes. And if you ever watch like CSI or anything like that, where they through a computer, match it. Yeah, that's what we do. Lovely. And if you just want to step to your side.
It may be the 15-year-old's first time in custody, but it's new to her dad being on the outside.
This way.
I've been in and out of these places all my life there enough. And I got put when I was 10-year-old. Was in care till I was 18. I was in and out of prison till I was 34. And then the day, can't bear him being in there about me being in there.
I don't know, I think to go mad. Because like he's overprotective of me. He wants to stop my pocket money though. I usually like this. I usually go quiet and stay in. Shouldn't have done it in the first place. It's just still a mistake.
Ricky Love has slept off his anger at being caught peeing in the street and is now fit for processing. Ricky's a hard man with a long criminal history, but recently things have changed and he's beginning to see the value of family.
When was your last in, Ricky? A while ago,
I was
was
in
it?
for a robbery about a year ago.
Yep.
Didn't do it, I got no further option.
So you haven't been in for a while, yeah?
Been out of prison 2 years in August. I've been in and out this 10 years.
Getting fed up of it?
I have had a son, no, just
How old is he?
He's 6 months, but he was 8 weeks premature. Yeah, but he's my world, you know.
Yeah.
And I've sorted my life out, and then I've done a stupid thing having a week. And then
It's the drink, demon drink, innit?
it just hurts me now. I'm in here not seeing him.
Well, hopefully you won't be here too long. All right, can you just stand in there, Ricky, just to say that they're your prints, please? Do you want a cup of tea or do you want water?
Cup of tea, please.
Cup of tea, do you have sugar?
2, please.
2 sugars, all right. Come on then, we'll take you back. You'll be all right, come on. Just treat it as a one-off. I'll get you your brew, all right?
I've been in and out of jail the last 11 years, in and out, you know, and this is where it's led me, but the most important thing in my life now is my son, and that has kept me out of prison for a year, nearly 2 years in August, and it's made me proud of myself. It's kept me off drugs.
He's sobering up a bit now. I think he's made us just been silly, urinating in the street. He wants to sort of get back to his son, so I think the sergeant's going to arrange to get him out of here as soon as he can.
So I'm bringing up 2 girls, what aren't my girls, to my girlfriend's girls, but they call me Dad. That means the world to me. That's what I want in my life for him. You know, it's always been up there, like you always say, I'm never going back. But you do end up going back, but I've got everything not to go back. And this is why I'm angry with myself for having a stupid wee.
Here you go, Ricky. I'm going to have a word with the sergeant about what's happening with you, all right? Because you've come off drink a bit, haven't you? Just watch that, because it's really hot. Yeah, so I'll come back and tell you what's going to happen.
A brew does wonders for everyone. Even the girl's dad is starting to see sense.
He's calmed down a hell of a lot now. He needed a cup of tea with some sugar in, so I'll give him that, which seemed to build bridges.
I'll let you know as soon as we know. All right.
I think he's appropriate now. A cup of tea, it can turn anybody around. Nice cup of tea.
It's gone through.
Absolutely.
Don't just leave your hat off. I don't think you'll need it in there.
You've been doing something. Fucking at school, you.
Yeah, no, I see.
Never mind it, you know. All right. What are you scared of?
Come this way with me.
Both girls will now have Dad in on their interviews.
We could look at the triage side of things, but there has to be an admission. It can't be that they're denying it. Unfortunately, if there is a denial, it will go straight to court because there's no other process that we can do if they're not admitted to court.
Triage means they'll be released without further action, as long as they know what they did was wrong.
You've been arrested for shop theft for a £1.65 packet of bandages.
Yeah, we had £1.50 for...
I gave you money this morning.
Then, yeah, I know, but we had to get a bandage for it.
I always give you money.
Yeah, I know.
You always ask me for money.
So you've gone into Tesco's with your sister, yeah?
Don't cry. I'm not showing at you.
Let me go get you some tissues.
I'm not showing. Just like your pennies, darling. Come here. I knew you'd be upset.
So were you on your way to school?
Yeah.
Is that where you were going? Okay. What was wrong with his arm? Why did she need a bandage?
She's like, do you know what people have done, like a sort of nice challenge?
Yes.
That she's done them, and like one of them started bleeding, so
Okay.
and it goes all down her arm, so.
So you knew that you were going to need a bandage, and you knew you didn't have enough money, and you knew that you were going to steal it. Is that what you're saying to me?
Well, we didn't know we were going to steal it until like we worked out how much we had left, because we thought we'd had enough out there, and when we got the entrance and that, but we didn't. And then like police came and started kicking off, and then they put her in handcuffs because she was like real stressy.
So you understand that taking something from a shop that's not yours is wrong without paying for it, okay? And this is the consequence of that. Even when you're doing it for the best of intentions, you're still stealing. And the daft thing is they've got a first aid point in St Stephen's, so if you'd have gone to one of the security guards, they're just giving her a bandage.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So let's get you in there.
I'm a bit annoyed because I've got a bandage. I mean, I said her money this morning, I should never have pinched it. If I knew she was always that, I'd have got one myself.
She's all yours.
Now it's the older sister's turn, and she's in bigger trouble. Also accused of assaulting the security guard.
If they'd behaved at the scene, then they wouldn't be here. Like the security already said, we'd have dealt with it in-house, wouldn't have even got the police involved. So it's gone from a simple, low-value shop theft to a possible assault, coming into custody, going through the system.
Stop shaking.
Tell me what happened.
We tried just getting out, and he pushed me against the wall, and I didn't like it, so I kicked off, and I started punching him, kicking him, and hitting him, and ramming him into the door, and then the police came.
You probably needed to take your details first, I would think, and that's maybe why they were asking you to stay a little bit longer.
It was no need pushing against the wall.
I understand that. I just need to talk to her about the allegation that's been made against her at the moment, okay?
Yeah, but sorry, you're saying allegation against her. End of the day, he's done what he's done.
They're allowed to.
And that,
they're allowed
he's
to
not allowed
detain.
to do it to a minor.
They're allowed to detain.
I've got the right to go across there and knock his frigging head off.
No, you haven't, Andrew.
I have.
Andrew, can I ask you to calm down, otherwise I'm going to ask you to leave the interview and leave the custody suite, okay? So do you think that that behaviour that you showed there is appropriate?
I don't know what happened to me, but
just got a bit angry.
Yeah. First time I've done it.
When you're nice to people, like you're being nice to me now, and you know you're talking to me quite respectfully, I'm talking to you quite respectfully, you get more out of people, don't you? I don't need to tell you that assaulting somebody who's trying to detain you for a criminal offence is wrong. I'm sure you understand that, don't you?
Yeah.
Andrew, my advice to you would be do not go around and punch him.
That's what I want to do.
I know. But we all want to do things, don't we? And we can't do them. Otherwise you're going to end up in here, which is of no use to these two, is it?
It's not nice, it's scary.
But I honestly thought that we would either deny it or Dad would be a little bit more obstructive than what he was. But he was all right until the second interview, so we did okay, really. Okay. Both of them have got no previous convictions, so I'm going to look at speaking to the youth offending team at the disposal of way of triage. Hopefully that's going to be a bit better than taking them to court. And they're definitely banned from Tesco's as well, so the outcome there's a bit better. I'm just hoping Dad don't go in.
John Farrow, the man who crashed his car but wasn't over the limit, is getting impatient.
Okay. This has all been explained to you, hasn't it? It has. You've been locked up for unfit for a drink or drugs. So so it's an impairment. All right, following the accident you had, do you remember that much?
No, I don't remember no accident.
Exactly, so that suggests to me that you're still under the influence. He started trying to tell me what to do, but there's only one gaffer in here, and that's me, so I don't like it when people try and tell me. He's still obviously under the influence of something.
To work out what he's under the influence of, the cops have another trick up their sleeve.
These boys are here to do the field impairment test, which is a series of interesting little tests to see if they think that he's under the influence. If they deem that he is, then they will ask for an FME to come out and take blood, obviously for the offence of impairment. Can you take him down with the traffic officers into the yard?
Yeah.
Take him that way.
Right. Won't take too long, but it's just a series of tests to see whether you're actually impaired to drive.
Here he goes, now the Bobby's showing him how to do it.
You must raise your right foot, keeping your legs straight and your toes pointing forward.
This is the one-leg stand test. So lift his foot, pointing your toe up to 6 to 8 inches off the ground. And then count out loud. 1001, 1002.
1000 to 1000. I know it wobbles if I do that. Can I have a straight bit of ground? Because my ground goes downhill like this.
Which bit would you like then?
You must stand on my bit, that was alright.
Yeah. Right, next one is called the finger and nose test. When I tell you which hand to move, you must touch the tip of your nose with the tip of that finger.
Might have the old...
Yeah, Warren. Go to here.
Right, next one. You must take 9 heel-to-toe steps along the line.
Where he has to walk toes to toe and not go off the...
Right, I would say that he has passed the test. The items that he has failed are not down to his impairment, but mainly down to his lack of possible mental capacity to understand what was meant of him. So I would say that he isn't impaired, based on this test. So I think he's certainly under the influence of something. I would suggest that a blood test would be a more accurate reading of exactly what's in his system, and a doctor's statement to indicate whether he feels he would have been impaired at the time of driving.
From my observations about the test, it looked like he may have failed it. However, the bobbies have come back and said that he's passed it. They still think he's maybe under the influence of something, which would coincide with the fact that he said he's under medication and he's had some today.
But Mr. Farrow is now refusing to cooperate anymore.
Been in trying to be given blood. He's in there a while. He's refused to give urine. He's refused to give blood. Therefore, we're going to keep him in custody until the morning, until he's fit. Let the medication wear off. Then he'll be fit to be spoken to and then fit to be charged as well.
A night in the cells brings most people to their senses. As a new day dawns at Priory Road, it's checking out time. And first to leave are the 2 boys suspected of stealing lead from a roof. Having admitted their crime, they're about to be released without a charge. All the 11-year-old needs to worry about is his mum.
Your property. Is it yours?
So you can get in contact with them. Stay away from them. It's a lot older than your boy. You need some friends of your own age. Do normal things. Playing football.
You don't want him to come back. It's not the environment that you want a small child to basically be in. While you're on bail, you don't want to commit any more offences. All right. Don't think you will commit any more, to be honest. Very neat writing as well. You could tell he was still scared and he was thinking about what he's done. And I don't really think that he's going to commit any more further offences, really. I know sometimes we could feel sorry for him, but he's still a serious message that we don't want him back, really. And I think Mum's going to give him more punishment than we can.
Look out, family.
Lovely.
That's what I miss, you know.
Ricky Love is also being reunited with his child.
Thank you anyways for letting me.
For weeing in public, he's got a 12-month conditional discharge.
Didn't really mean no harm, but it's life, isn't it?
How are you feeling at the moment?
Different.
John Farrow, the man who crashed his car, was under the influence of drugs. Prescription painkillers for a bad back.
I hadn't been to my doctor for a while, and my tablets was all coming down to my last ones. But I didn't realise even that I shouldn't have been taking certain tablets for even while driving. Didn't even click in.
Right, Mr. Farrer, are you fitting well to get home?
I will do my best.
He wasn't done for the crash, but for refusing the blood test. He was fined £50 and banned from driving for a year.
I must admit, next time I see any of you, I will run.
Well, you better start running now then. Anyway, I'll see you later, Mr. Farrer. You'll be with us again in about a month, OK?
I can imagine. Right, cheers.
The father of the two shoplifters is nervously awaiting their fate.
It's like what I did years ago. I mean, in the end, it didn't work for me years ago. But... I mean, they've all come in, they've all good girls. Just actually got a bad temper. Hopefully it'll stop them from coming back in here.
But Dad's got to help them do that.
They're both going to be triaged, which means they're going to get released. As far as we're concerned, it's over and done with. There's no criminal conviction or anything like that.
We do need, obviously, your support of it, though, because what we want to do is make sure triage works, because we don't obviously want them back in police custody. I don't know how you feel about that.
Oh, they're going to pay money when they get home.
They're going to get a turn off from you when you get back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. OK, well, what we'll do then is we'll go to the desk and explain to the girls what's happening.
Can't go. Couldn't have learned a lesson.
16 DX.
Well, cheer up, definitely, aren't you? Stay at you.
Obviously, it's been explained what's happening. There's going to be no further action at this time.
The truth has set them free. But was it the whole truth?
Well, you got money there, look. What was that? So why didn't you buy it? Cheers. Go on.
In the nicest possible way, I don't want to see you in here again. OK. All right, so you're free to go.
Good. I've been here 5 hours.
OK, well, I'll give you a ring later on just to see how I am. So.
Right.
All right, cheers.
I'm happy with them, but I'm also annoyed that they pinched a bandit when they got money on them. They could have paid for it. For the sake of what, 70 odd pence. You could have avoided all this, couldn't you? Yeah?
Where we can, we'll deal with juveniles outside of the custody and get other agencies involved, like youth offending. But it can't be nice for people to come in here. I know I'm in here, but it's nice seeing me, but not kids in here.
Next time, it's shut down in the lockup. A man who's been seized is having a seizure. Another man picked up is having a paddy. And if you value your freedom, assaulting an officer isn't the best course of action, no matter how rock solid your defence.
Well, I tell you what, I've read some fairy tales in all my life, but that takes the biscuit.
Fair enough.